Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to our guest, Sister Alia Ashikin, and my director Rizman Haris, our co-director Brother Arif Azlan. I am Muhammad Afif Ali Muhammad Sabri, and Sister Akila here will be your moderator for this interview session with an NGO known as Stand Up Malaysia.
All right. So before we begin our interview, I would like to give a brief introduction about Stand Up Malaysia. So Stand Up Malaysia is an organization that fights for women, specifically against sexual and gender-based violence. And this movement has been around ever since 2017 and has been actively until today. And without further ado, we would like to welcome our respectable guest here, Ms. Alia Ashikid, to introduce herself and also this organization.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for inviting Stand Up Malaysia. My name is Alia Ashikin. I am a co-founder of Stand Up Malaysia. So I am currently working and also studying part-time as a law student. So how we started Stand Up Malaysia, it began when me and my co-founder, Rian Wong, we attended political management training. So during that period, I think it was 2 years back, where we met a feminist from Thailand. Her name is Nana. Her full name is quite long, but you know her nickname is Nana, where she advocate about consent in Thailand. The movement is called as Thai Consent, and it is listed in United Nations as I think for women award category, something like that, you know, for advocacy work. So we both of us were inspired, and we started to adopt the movement, like, you know, talking about sexual and gender based violence, where we think, you know, the subject itself, the topic itself cover very broad types of violence, you know. So that is how we got the idea on how to start an organization. At first we never think of starting an organization like a full organization, or like registering with ROS, because you know both of us like just started our life. Rian is still a student, while myself is like trying to try to live in like adulthood phase. So like during that time, we were started like very small. We start our movement through online platform, which is via Instagram. So it was in conjunction with 16 days of activism, where all the activism work is like heavily advocated in November during that 2 weeks. So how that is how we started. I think it was around 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So from there we grew big. We have right now, I think, 18 members so far with us to move Stand Up Malaysia together. So that is how Stand Up Malaysia started.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. Okay, so thank you. That's very interesting. And as what I've seen in your social media and also your website, you guys have put a lot of great efforts in your campaigns and also your projects. So would you mind to tell us more about the projects that you've done in the past?
Right. Okay. I really like this question, and I think one of the how to say one of the activities that we are currently, and what we have done in the past, which I like really I'm very interested in, was we did a sexual harassment, where we call it a workshop respect, where we conducted a workshop for secondary school children, talking about sexual harassment and consent. So the students were like, I think they were like around 15 years old, like that. So we were telling them what is all about consent. You know, we heard a lot of consent topic going around the internet, but it was just the surface of consent. There's no further discussion where you touch on ground, where you really connect with the students, with the people of what is actually sexual harassment, what is actually sexual and gender-based violence. So during that time, we had the opportunity because it wasn't COVID time yet. We went on the ground and talk about sexual and gender-based violence. So among of the other activities, we also conducted like a series of webinar. We somehow like a round table with Southeast Asian families. We listened to their perspective and how it was, how this topic been talking in the respective countries. And one of the thing that last year we did it so well. Congrats, Stand Up Malaysia, and I'm very happy about it. I think the rest of us also like very happy about this project where we call it Laptop for Siswa project. We distributed. This one is very is not a part of Stand Up Malaysia advocacy work, but we do feel connected with students. So that is why we founded a project. We launched a project Laptop for Siswa. We distributed second-hand laptop via crowdsourcing to the underprivileged students in throughout Malaysia. It was very successful project, and we're really happy about it. Where the students could use the laptops for their online studies when the pandemic hit us very bad during the lockdown last time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sister Miss Alia, for that explanation on your progress. You mentioned a few remarkable projects, I think, and I think that one of the most interesting one is the laptop for CISWA. Even though it's not your advocacy, what you fight for, but it is very helpful for those people. So I'm guess from my knowledge of dealing with programs, I think that these programs that you are doing, some of them must require a lot of funding. So if I may ask, that how do you do? You mentioned crowdsourcing once. That, and then what are your other funding? How do you gain the funds for all of your programs? Okay, would you, if you would care to elaborate more?
Sure. Well, funding topic is always been a topic that everyone will like to know how we get the money. You are just students. How do you collect funds? Are you registered? Are you qualified enough to run this program? So when we were first started, me and Rian, only two of us who like literally, not to say run the program, like we are the two pioneers, like thinking how are we going to find volunteers, how are we going to do this, how are we going to do that. So when we first started it, to be honest, we don't have any fund at all. So we fork out our own money to fund our project. So I think that is the biggest sacrifice Stand Up Malaysia team ever done in their life, I guess. So that is something that I'm truly honored, and I'm blessed to have a very great team behind Stand Up Malaysia. So as the year progress and we get to know a lot of people, we somehow we don't say we have a lot of fun, I guess. Most of the work that we did is 100% voluntarily. We don't have enough fund yet to pay our volunteers. So mostly it's just like a mutual thing where the collaboration work is we do it with voluntarily basis, where everyone comes and really want to talk and advocate for sexual and gender-based violence. So that is somehow, I hope it answered to your questions.
It is. It surely is actually. So, but if I may, do you actually do you actually get donations or something for some people? Do you ask for it? Do you request for it?
Okay, so on that part, I what I can just elaborate more is I could touch on how we did a Laptop for Siswa campaign, where we first started with collecting donations from the public. So that was the first time ever we asked money from the public. And before that, we never asked money from people. We just do it with our own money, our own pocket money. And then that is how we started, where we the recent announcement, I think during COVID, during the lockdown, where students are supposed to return to their respective universities, but due to the announcement made by MOHE, they have, they were like, they were stuck, and they're unable to go back. They have purchased their tickets and everything. They have prepared for everything, but due to the announcement, everything is just like they cannot do anything, and their money is like just burn, something like that. So that is first where we call for public donation, and it's solely for the project. So there's nothing that it's nothing for the operation cost, and all the money that we collected, we distributed all to the project or the recipient of the projects. So, and yeah, I think in between the lines, maybe I could say that there's no operation cost on our side.
So if we were to look at the current situation right now, I know it's been very hard for everyone. So we've been wondering, how is it going there for Stand Up Malaysia? Like, what are your plans? Do you guys have any upcoming projects in the future?
Okay, thank you for that question. I really like future planning kind of stuff question. So I think COVID hits us like very hard, where some of the event that we really passionate and we wanted to do, we are unable to do it, due to certain SOPs, this and that, and another resistance was most of us are students, and we work remotely. We are blessed with the opportunity that we have like our own laptops, and devices to communicate. So everything that should be conducted physically, like meetings and all, it all have to be transferred online. So that is how I think everything changed since then. Then all of that, with the technology and everything, we don't see it as a like real obstacles where you can just do any seminars or webinars online. So since that we adopt that new way of life, then yeah, we utilize all the technology to continue advocating for sexual and gender-based violence. So that is how it went, and we also glad that we have a lot of supporters. So whenever we do online webinars or something, there are always people who come to our event. And yeah, for the future planning activities, we have it in schedule. So to anyone who would like to know more about it, just stay tuned. Or everything will be posted up on our social media page. Okay,
Very
so
interesting.
just a little bit of it lah. Okay, so one of it we are so since this month is mental health month, mental health awareness month, we are planning to do something, I think more like a webinar session where we talk more on mental health and the victims of SGBV. And there are a
Thank you.
few
I think
others in line.
very helpful. Okay.
I'm sorry
Okay.
for interrupting. So, do you have any? Okay. Should we move on to the next question, or do you have any other points for you to say? Okay. I'm sorry for that.
Don't
So,
worry.
okay. So, I would like to, for me, I would like to ask more in detail about regarding about your advocacy, what you advocate for. So I know you mentioned, I've heard that you mentioned about based violence. So do you only fight for those? Gender based violence is, do you fight for any different type of violence, or do you have a particular type of violence that you advocate for? So that's the only point you stand up for.
Right. Okay. So when we talk about gender-based violence, I think it's like very broad term used to describe all types of violence, especially against women. So the type of violence that covered under SGBV, like domestic violence, sexual harassment, mental abuse, those kind of stuff, and also harassment on digital spaces, we covered on that. So the other type of violence, we stand in solidarity with any oppressed group, where it can be somehow related to LGBT group, the minorities, standing up together with somehow with the oppressed group. I could say like more on oppressed group, like currently on what is like really reflected in reality by what is happening in Palestine right now. So we are also advocating on that, where anything that involve violence should stop.
Okay, I see. So that means like you actually advocate more towards violence, but in specific that you also covered gender, that
Yes.
you focus more on oppress, which is
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Not really to say focus more on the oppressed. It's just that the main thing that we are advocate for is sexual and gender-based violence, where it involve men, women, minorities, children. But aside of that, we also focus on mental health issues. We focus on the well-being of the society, and also the international relations that involve women.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your answer for that. For it answers my question actually. Thank you.
All right. Great.
So, if you don't mind, I would like to ask your opinion regarding this issue. Because me, as a woman myself, I find it very overwhelming to see a lot of rising cases that involves violence against women. So, what do you think is the cause, and what are the solutions that we can come up with to eradicate this issue, or at least to tone it down?
Right. When we talk about violence, I think there's a lot of perspective on violence. Like the root causes of violence is, especially maybe it started with the childhood trauma, where someone experienced traumatic experience that involve abuse, violence, and they reflected it in their adult life. They inflict that upon others. So that is how it started. That is the causes. And secondly, lack of education on respecting other people. When you tend to feel that you are dominant, you feel that you are superior than others, it's a human nature that you kind of like impose it, or like making someone feel submissive, like they don't deserve all the good things in life, like they are deserve to be treated that way. And the third one, lack of respect, traumatic experience. And the last one, I think, is because there's lack of awareness about sexual and gender-based violence. So when we don't talk more about sexual and gender-based violence, and we tend to like dodge it off, like we don't care and other stuff. And also it's inherited due to the cultural norms that were practices last time, like patriarchy, toxic masculinity. So those kind of attitudes that were brought within the society, that is reflected in current situation. So that is how it combine, and how it like integrate, and being reflected in the current situation, where women are the most vulnerable group. They unable to protect themselves to against this kind of uh, attitudes, I could say that. So it's not saying that women are defenseless. What I'm trying to say here is that women are the majority of the victims are women and children. So having that kind of um inability to fight back the dominant and other attributes. So that is why violence took place in the setting itself. So how to overcome it? I think there must be a continuous education and awareness created to overcome this problem. While saying that it has to be in education stuff, like awareness, I also feel that there should be a mechanism, a really working mechanism introduced by government or other agencies, like how to protect women, and how to make this world a better and safer place for all of us.
Most of these cases always involve their own husband or even their own dad. Do you think
Yeah.
why these women still stay in that toxic place?
Right. This is a very good question. Okay. Whenever we look into that problem, how it arise from there. First, I think the women don't live the maybe toxic relationship, abusive relationship because first that's financial crisis. We know that sometimes women maybe the woman is a full-time housewife where they don't have they don't have finance on their own. They are not working. They don't earn money. So there's like financial dependency onto the husband, and that is one of the reason they don't leave. Siapa like for example, siapa nak jaga anak aku nanti when when I leave this relationship, how I'm going to like survive in future. That's one thing. So besides financial dependency, I also feel that we often attach with emotional attachment or like what they call it love, something like that. So those kind of emotion, like really this is something, it's a hard truth that I don't think so people often talk it, where when you have like attachment to someone, it's like very hard for you to leave the relationship. You always feel and believe that they will change, but actually they're not going to change. So that are the reason that I think two most like crucial or important reason that people don't leave the abusive relationship.
All right, thank you. That's very yeah.
Okay, thank you for that answer, Miss Alia. So I would like to move on to the next question, and it's also one of the questions from the audience. So we start with what are the challenges that is often faced by your NGO, or what is the most difficult challenge you have faced, and what did you do to overcome it? In addition to that, does the pandemic actually amplify the problem, or do you have any other problems when the pandemic arrived in Malaysia? Was that too
Okay, thank
much?
you so much for this question. I think this question is like it's quite tough for me to answer because I'm like very positive person. So I don't think I don't really see things as a problem. So whenever there's problem, I always believe that there's always ways to work on it. So what is the biggest challenge that me and my team face in Stand Up Malaysia is maybe I pun tak tahu apa challenges dia, but I think it's because of the time constraint that some of us have to divide our time with volunteering, and then we have work, we have studies to do. So one of the biggest challenge is like is the time constraint, among the team members. But how do we overcome it is that we set date like, hey, we don't want to make a difficult this thing difficult for you guys, so we just like organize bi-weekly meetings, something like that, whenever like to gather our own people. Yeah, I think somehow that is so far is quite challenging thing to do. Like it's not easy to organize meeting where everyone is available, everyone have their own stuff to do. So I think time management is something that quite challenging for us.
Okay, but if I may, that when you mention volunteer, I'll just imagine that you guys are gathering in one crowd and do all sorts of things. But in this pandemic, you're not allowed to do things like that. But
Yeah.
what okay. So what are your like solutions to that?
Right, I'm just like you all. We are using any kind of software tools to gather our team member together, like organizing via Google Meet, and also having one software that make everyone see what are the latest update, what are the upcoming project, and we communicate from there.
Okay,
So not
understandable.
only restricted to WhatsApp group, but we have like they call it Slack bot, so that we can like chat and talk about stuff, work stuff in there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for
Okay.
your answer. Actually.
No worries.
Okay, this is from me. So, like, as we all know, Stand Up Malaysia has been doing great all this while. So, do you have any expectations or hopes on this organization?
I personally do. I think the rest of the team would agree. Will agree with me. We of course have the expectation where we want to. Our mission is to create a safer place for everyone in this world, where respect and tolerance are being practiced. Like somehow, what we wish, I don't know whether it will come true or not. Like we really hope that men especially learn how to respect women, be more sorry, yeah, because whatever, because like recently I just read a Twitter thread where this girl just got raped by the
Oh,
ex-boyfriend, if I'm not mistaken. So I think, how would we overcome this problem together? One of the essential part of, like, preventive measures is learn how to respect before, like, educating them on gender, whatever, the theory stuff. Go and learn how to respect other people, learn how to be more, conscious about, hey, this is wrong, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do this to women, I shouldn't do this to animals. For example, if anyone out there is advocating for animals right, we should, it's a basic human stuff. You should know how to respect other people. So I think that somehow sum up how what we expect from the society, and the expectation of the organization. Of course, we want to progress, we want to move forward, we want to see more people talking about and aware of SGBV.
yes, because like all women want is only to feel safe in this world. So
Yes,
yeah,
I'm not gonna touch all those stuff that involve, marriage,
yeah,
polygamy stuff. Is quite complicated to talk about. But feeling safe, be safe is something I would say that is a human right.
yeah.
Why men, can walk at night, they can just go out anytime they want, but women are not feel safe enough to do that. So that is why I feel like, the most important part to fix the problem is to respect other gender.
Yes, agree.
Okay, thank you for that answer, Miss Alia. That I do agree with you that some people do need to learn how to respect other people. That is, some things that are missing in this world. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
All right.
because
So
the world is changing, it evolve, and the attitude also, I think, is because people now are more individualistic. They don't really like mix around in the society. There's less interaction. Like right now, I don't meet you like in a physical setting where we can talk, like really see each other face. We are forced to adopt in this new lifestyle. So there's no, like, how to say, physical connection. Like, I have to learn to respect you because you are in front of me. But at this point of life where everything you just like it's like everything is like virtually, where you don't really like feel what the other person feel behind their screen. Like, I don't know how you feel right now, so this kind of stuff. But maybe if we meet physically, then I know, like, oh, this face reaction is something like how you feel, those kind of stuff. Yeah.
okay, thank you for that. That input. I'm guessing. I'm sorry. Thank you for the input, Ms. Alia. I think that our audience can actually benefit from that. So I have one last question from the audience before we move on to the last question from us. So
Okay, sure.
we have this question like, good evening. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the role, if any, of the Malaysian education system in preventing sexual and gender-based violence. Is the current system effective enough? So on to you, Miss Alia.
Okay, so the what I can say, whatever in the syllabus right now, if I'm not mistaken, when I was in primary and secondary school, I think it was in secondary school code, where we were taught on how to in science, where we just like briefly mention about the human reproductive system, while in the Pendidikan Jasmani book, we learn about like all those stuff that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. So I think there's like people that time at that point of time where people already start to realize that hey, there's some the education I needed, sex education I needed, but I don't think so it's sufficient. It is not enough. People are not brave enough to talk about it openly. You know, you when we said about consent, kind people always think that oh, it is zina, it is haram, but it is actually happening in our society. People are doing that, and regardless of what kind of uh, religious stuff they're going to put it, it is already happening in the society. And religious, what they see is that somehow you know, living in this current era, that people always set aside a religion and also whatever affairs that they're having right now. You know, religious should be at home, and whatever affairs, government or whatever, it has to be separated. Like how okay, in a bigger picture it says politics and religion should be separated, and I'm assuming that whatever illness in the society is maybe fall under politics, where the government official have to make a decision and to think about the solution of it. So where these societal problems plus politics not doing enough, that is why we are stuck in this problem, and we cannot go forward. So having said that, yes, I agree. The syllabus is there is a syllabus on that, but it is not good enough, and it is think it is not effective, where you cannot expect that, you know, sexual education will stop 90% of any kind of sexual activities or illegitimate children, baby dumping. You cannot stop that from happening, but at least if you have a comprehensive sex education, well, you know, people start to aware how they could like really prevent a serious problem from developing from there. And also I could say, when people talk about child marriage, for example, we often look at older people marrying the young bride. How about young people? And young people, you know, there's like a situation where illegitimate child born out from the relationship, but you know, the parents, the custom, and it didn't really like reflect in the policy itself. Like they don't like really think clearly, or how they could manage those kind of other situation, rather than, you know, just looking it into one piece of one segment of the problem, you know, the root problem. Does it make sense? So like talking like going around the bushes. But
Okay, okay. Oh, sorry.
I would love to like make it clear if like you guys are not clear.
I think yeah, I think it does a bit. I think it makes sense if, you know, if if I'm listening to it correctly. What you said is that, and I do agree that, you know, even if in the syllabus that we are learning to, that it is not enough, because sometimes education does, we need to cover a lot, you know. So we
Yeah,
do need NGOs or any other organization that can, that specialize in those things, so we to help us understand more if we are when we are interested in it, and or if the problem occurs. Yeah. So
right.
I think we move on to the last question. It's just we have I'm guessing this all our audience right now interested in your non about your organization. So if we may ask that, how do we contact you if we are, you know, interested in being your volunteers, or if we need to get any updates from your part on your projects, on your future upcoming programs?
Okay, so anyone who would like to know more about Stand Up Malaysia, we are available on Instagram at Stand Up Stand Up My, and also we have our own website where you can just type standupmalaysia.org. You can find more about Stand Up Malaysia, and you can just fill in the form to join us.
Okay.
All right, so it seems like we have reached the end of our interview. I'm pretty sure it has been a very fruitful discussion. And before we part ways, me and my friends would like to express our gratitude to our guest here, Ms. Alia Ashikin, and also to our lecturer, Dr. Amelia, for supervising us throughout this interview, and also to our audience for listening.
Thank you so much for inviting Stand Up Malaysia. Good luck, guys.
Thank you for participating.
All right. So
Thank you.
I think that's the end of our live for today. Thank you very much, and we'll see you some other time.
Wait,
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Dah boleh live eh? Okay.
Dah.
Dah
Okay,
habis
bye.
Alright.
Bye.
Apik tu je.
Apa dah ya?
Dah live dah. Wait, is it still live?
Wait,
Still live,
apa yang
I
mana?
But
Ada
West,
Thank you for the audience.
apa glad kan yang soalan yang kita